At its peak, the British Empire controlled nearly 1/4 of the world's land and population. From Africa to Asia, the Caribbean to the Pacific, the sun never set on the British Empire. But how did Britain build such power? And what did it cost the rest of the world? British colonialism began in the late 16th century, during an age of exploration. At first, Britain wasn't trying to rule the world. It wanted trade, wealth, and resources. British ships sailed across oceans, establishing early colonies in North America and the Caribbean. These colonies supplied sugar, tobacco, and cotton, products that made Britain rich. To control global trade, Britain created powerful trading companies, the most famous being the British East India Company. This company traded spices, textiles, and tea, and eventually became more powerful than many governments. At this stage, colonialism was about profit, not full political control. By the 1700s and 1800s, Britain's ambitions grew. Trade slowly turned into territorial control. Britain expanded across India, known as the jewel of the British Crown, Africa, including Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa, and parts of Asia, the Caribbean, and the Pacific. Britain used military force, unequal treaties, and divide and rule tactics to dominate local populations. Colonies were forced to supply raw materials, while Britain sold finished goods back to them, keeping colonies economically dependent. British colonialism was closely tied to the transatlantic slave trade. Millions of Africans were captured, sold, and transported to British colonies in the Americas and Caribbean. Enslaved people worked on plantations that produced sugar, cotton, and tobacco, fueling Britain's wealth and industrial growth. British rule reshaped colonized societies. Local industries were destroyed. Foreign laws and languages were imposed. Borders were drawn without regard for ethnic or cultural differences. In many colonies, education and infrastructure existed mainly to serve British interests, not local development. Resistance was constant. Rebellions, protests, and uprisings occurred across Africa and Asia, but were often brutally suppressed. The two world wars weakened Britain economically and politically. Colonized people began demanding freedom and self-rule. Leaders like Mahatma Gandhi in India, Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana, and Jomo Kenyatta in Kenya led independence movements. Between 1947 and the 1960s, most British colonies gained independence, marking the fall of the British Empire. British colonialism left a mixed legacy. It introduced railways, legal systems, and the English language, but also caused economic exploitation, cultural loss, artificial borders, and long-term inequality. Many modern conflicts trace their roots back to colonial rule. The British Empire may be gone, but its impact still shapes the world today. Subscribe to BrainsPark Facts for